Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, state legislators extend protections for those at risk of losing their homes. We'll explain how long those will last. Plus, county supervisors take up the issue of thousands at risk of eviction.
And a breakdown of new business guidelines as we learn more about the state's plans for communities like Kern with widespread COVID-19 transmission.
And the man accused in the murder of one of the so-called Bakersfield Three is due back before a judge today. We'll have the latest on this case. This is Tuesday, September 1st, 2020. Good morning, 5 a.m. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen along with Alex Fisher. Hard to believe, but September is already here.
Yeah, welcome to September, or as I like to say, it's more like Marbimber or whatever. It's like all these months have kind of come together, if you will. We were talking about time yesterday and how the perception of time has completely changed over the last several months. That is for sure. Every time we start a new month, it is hard to believe.
But here we are, and it's going to get hotter as we get into September. Let's check in with Kevin.
I learned a new word today, Marbimber.
Just take the months, move them all together.
Put them all together, squish them in together. And it is going to start to be pretty hot for the month of September. Now, yesterday, we hit 99. I think we'll be close to that today before we really start to see the heat crank up. The other thing we've got going on is, yes, we thought we would escape it. Nope, it's back. The air quality alert is in place for us right now through 5 p.m., but I think it'll probably be extended into tomorrow as well around the area. In terms of our temperature, we're starting out near 74, an east wind at 3, visibility not bad at 7 miles. Now 59 into Tehachapi. We've got a light wind out of the south at 3, visibility is good. And as we take a look at the hour by hour forecast, you can see throughout the afternoon we are back into the upper 80s. I'll have much more in your forecast that's coming up in just a little bit, but first back over to you.
All right, thanks, Kevin. New this morning, state legislators have extended eviction protections amid a growing pandemic, blocking foreclosures for those who claim inability to pay their rent due to financial issues brought on by the pandemic. Governor Gavin Newsom signed the extension into law late last night. The extension on eviction protections lasts through February 1st. Until then, the governor's office says under the legislation, no one can be evicted due to past due rent as a direct result of COVID-19 related financial difficulties. The catch? Those financial issues had to have occurred between March 4th and last night. For those suffering from money woes starting today through the rest of the year, they'll be required to pay at least 25% of their rent in order to avoid eviction. And again, the tenant must provide a declaration of hardship to the landlord. Tenants are still responsible for paying the unpaid amounts, but those debts cannot be the basis for eviction.
Speaking of housing assistance, that topic, along with skilled nursing facilities and even the Space Force, are all set to be addressed at today's Board of Supervisors meeting. 17's Aton Wallace has details.
We needed to do something to assist the public, meeting their needs to not become homeless.
This was last week at the Board of Supervisors meeting. County leaders pledging $5 million to go toward rental and mortgage relief, up to $5,000 per family on the brink of eviction.
We think we can serve anywhere from 1,200 to 1,500 households in Kern.
But that may be just the tip of the iceberg. The nonprofit Faith in the Valley says 20,000 households in Kern County are at risk of eviction. On Tuesday, the board is set to address the issue further. Another issue set to be discussed, COVID at skilled nursing facilities. Supervisors will hear a presentation about efforts underway to curb outbreaks at many of the area's 19 state-regulated skilled nursing facilities.
3, 2, 1. And liftoff.
And then there's the Space Force. Supervisors are expected to express support to move the U.S. Space Command headquarters to Palmdale, something county staff argues will greatly benefit the aerospace industry of Kern County. The board is also set to proclaim September as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Kern County. In Bakersfield, Aton Wallace, 17 News.
Friends and family of a man who was shot and killed in East Bakersfield over the weekend gathered to honor his memory. Bakersfield police say the shooting happened Saturday just after 9 p.m. in the 700 block of Niles Street. The family identified the man as 26-year-old Raymond Velasquez. Last night, a vigil was held near the Bank of America building where Velasquez died.
He was a good person. I mean, he helped whoever he helped. He helped a lot of people. He had a big heart.
No arrests have been made. If you have any information on the shooting, you're urged to call Bakersfield Police at 327-7111.
Firefighters made quick work of a fire in East Bakersfield. The Bakersfield Fire Department says it happened yesterday in a garage on Cordova Way near City Hills Drive. Crews from the county fire department as well as BFD responded to the scene. Firefighters were able to keep the fire contained to that garage. They say the people inside the home were able to get out safely and there were no pets inside. The cause is under investigation.
It's 5:05 now, and today marks the start of Pedestrian Safety Month, and police say they'll be doing more to keep people safe on the streets. The Bakersfield Police Department says it will step up traffic enforcement through the month of September, looking for drivers who are speeding, making illegal turns, failing to yield, and other traffic violations. Over the past 10 years, BPD said the number of pedestrians killed and hurt on California roads has gone up dramatically, accounting for nearly 25% of all roadway deaths. And they're asking drivers and pedestrians to avoid distractions and be careful, especially near crosswalks.
Teen Challenge's annual Walk for Recovery is going digital this year due to the pandemic, but that means you have more chances to get involved than before. Organizers with Kern's chapter of Teen Challenge say instead of doing a specific day and time this year, they're hosting the fundraising event all month. The event is designed to raise money to help those in addiction recovery programs. Registration is free. If you want to get involved, you can register for a run or walk at justgiving.com/campaign/KTC-walk.
5:06 education news now. A reminder, Panama Buena Vista Union School District is teaming up with Public Health to offer free vaccinations for students this week. Vaccinations are still required for kids this school year, even if they're learning from home. The clinic is happening today and tomorrow for those needing updated shots. You can make an appointment ahead of time or just walk in as well. Call the number on your screen for an appointment. The clinic runs 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. today and tomorrow at Thompson Junior High School in the gym, and that is on Plans Road. It is free, and you're asked to wear a mask and practice social distancing.
The shocking death of actor Chadwick Boseman at age 43 has reignited the conversation about colon cancer and what it's being seen more often in younger people and especially people of color.
Since the 1990s, we have been noticing a steady rise in the rate in people under the age of 50 at about 2% per year.
The majority of people who will be diagnosed with the disease are over the age of 50, and doctors say they're seeing it more and more in younger people. 1 in 41 black men will be diagnosed with colorectal cancer in their lifetime. Death rates are 47% higher in black men and 34% higher in black women, likely due to poor diet, lack of screening, and inadequate health care. The American Cancer Society recently revised its screening guidelines to begin screening at 45 years old, even earlier if there is a family history or symptoms like changes in bowel habits, blood, or abdominal cramping. But some worry that these symptoms are embarrassing for some to discuss, leading to unnecessary deaths.
Of the 50,000 or so colorectal cancer deaths that occur every year in the United States, we estimate that about 15 to 20,000 of those deaths could be prevented.
Doctors say prevention should start in childhood with a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Boseman never spoke publicly about his own battle with colon cancer. And coming up in our next half hour, we'll talk with Dr. Ravi Patel about colon cancer and the signs you should be aware of. I think this is a death that, of course, shocked everyone, including myself. I could not believe that. He is such a huge actor, especially for the black community. And for all of us to see this tragic death and not know that he was struggling with this, I think gives a lot of us, especially younger people, being able to question, have the questions of colon cancer and think about what we need to do, even at a young age, to start the process of screening and being more aware of our bodies.
Absolutely. Welcome back. It's been nearly a year since that deadly boat fire off the coast of Santa Cruz Island, where we are about a month away from hearing more about the tragedy. You may remember the harrowing story. 34 people died after the Conception dive boat went up in flames. A preliminary investigation found that 5 members of the crew were asleep in the wheelhouse, and there was no one patrolling the vessel operated by Santa Barbara-based Truth Aquatics. A roving watch is required by the U.S. Coast Guard during hours when passengers are asleep. The National Transportation Safety Board announced it will hold a hearing in October to reveal the results of its investigation into the deadliest maritime disaster in modern history.
As crews work to contain fires across our state, crews in Colorado are putting a high-tech solution to work in their own battles against wildfires. Nicole Fierro explains.
8 Alpha, we're going to get ready to start firing.
Fighting fire with fire from a safe distance.
It keeps the helicopters on the ground. My feet are on the ground and I can fly the drone from a safe spot.
Kelly Boyd, unit leader and drone operator, explains a newer tactic on the Colorado wildfire fighting front.
We've only been doing this for the last 2 years.
Drones deploying dragon eggs.
We did about 1,000 over the course of a day. It takes about 20 to 30 seconds for this reaction to take place. And that's about the time it takes for the ball to hit the ground.
The term dragon may be a little deceiving when it comes to explosion size. Boyd says by the time the eggs drop on the ground, it's like putting a lighter on the floor.
We get them up high on the ridgeline and we just work the fire down. That offers a lot of opportunities.
Opportunities to save communities, stopping fire lines in their tracks.
5 on a wide orbit.
Operations that are at risk when spectators try to get a closer look at the action.
If we have the public flying their drones, we don't know who they are and where they're going, and so we have to shut down operations.
That can potentially stop containment, even put the people protecting our lands and loved ones at risk.
We already have a tough time with aviation. We couldn't recover as a community.
And fire officials say even though this may seem like something anyone can fly a drone could help with, but the best thing is really to leave it to the experts.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back, 525, and in your 17 Business Watch, the countdown is on for Walmart's new membership program. The retail giant's new program called Walmart Plus will launch nationwide on September 15th. That's 2 weeks from today. Benefits include unlimited free delivery on orders of at least $35. Members will also be able to use the app to scan products as they shop, pay with their iPhone, and skip the checkout line. Members will eventually also get 5 cents a gallon off at Sam's Club gas stations. Walmart Plus will cost $98 a year or $12.95 a month. Talk about a bear market. A small community in Northern California is dealing with some unwanted customers in its local stores. Steve Large has a look. All right, Kev, thanks so much. 17 News is your local election headquarters, and President Trump plans to visit Kenosha, Wisconsin today against the wishes of Democratic leaders there. The city has erupted in protests and violence after police shot a black man in the back and a white teenager killed 2 demonstrators. Tracy Potts has a look.
Good morning. The White House says President Trump is headed to Wisconsin to unite the community amid all of this unrest. But local officials fear he will do just the opposite. Hours before traveling to Kenosha, Wisconsin today, President Trump on Fox overnight comparing police shootings to golf.
But they choke, just like in a golf tournament. They miss a 3-foot.
You're not comparing it to golf because, of course, that's what the media.
I'm saying people choke.
People panic.
Choke.
The president's expected to survey riot damage and meet with police after appearing to defend 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse, facing murder charges after killing 2 people in the chaos.
He was trying to get away from them, I guess, it looks like, and he fell, and then they very violently attacked him.
The violence we're seeing in Donald Trump's America.
Presidential nominee Joe Biden blaming the president.
He's rooting for chaos and violence.
And promising to prosecute looters.
Rioting is not protesting. Looting is not protesting. Setting fires is not protesting. None of this is protesting. It's lawlessness, plain and simple.
Today's visit against the advice of local leaders.
I felt that the timing was wrong.
This is not about politics. This is about my son.
The president is not expected to meet the family of Jacob Blake, whose police shooting sparked the protests. He says he declined a phone call because the family wanted their lawyer on the line. Now, the president boasted about sending the National Guard to Wisconsin to deal with the violence, but local officials say the state had already called them in. Tracy Potts, NBC News.
And all of this following claims Vice President Mike Pence was on standby to temporarily assume the presidency during President Trump's unannounced visit to Walter Reed Medical Center in November. This comes from an upcoming book by New York Times reporter Michael Schmidt. Schmidt says Pence was put on standby in case President Trump had to undergo a procedure requiring anesthesia. At the time, the White House said the president was undergoing a, quote, quick exam and labs as part of his annual physical. The White House declined to comment about that new report. And Bakersfield Congressman and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy has signed a pledge to stand with police officers. It's called the Heritage Action Police Pledge, an initiative that would oppose any bill, resolution, or movement to defund the police. In a statement, McCarthy said, quote, "Our police officers stand ready to answer the call when Americans need them most. They are our essential line of defense, protecting civil society from spiraling into mob-led anarchy." He says now is the time to support the police, not defund them.
Back here at home in your 17 court watch this morning, a man accused of killing one of the so-called Bakersfield Three is due back in court today. Prosecutors say Matthew Queen and missing woman Bailey Despot killed Micah Holzenbake before Despot herself went missing. They allegedly committed the crime in the garage of co-defendant Matthew Vanda Castile. Vanda Castile reportedly told investigators Queen thought Holzenbake stole a gun from him. Holzenbake and Despot went missing a month apart from each other in 2018. Holzenbake's arm was later discovered in the Kern River. The rest of him has never been found. There has been no trace of Despot since. The shooting death of James Kolstad, meantime, the third member of the Bakersfield Three, remains unsolved. Queen is due back in court this morning for a status conference on 34 charges ranging from kidnapping to manufacturing illegal guns to murder. And jurors are expected to continue deliberations today in the case of a man accused of killing his girlfriend's son. Caleb Kessinger and Ailed Chavez were arrested on suspicion of killing 2-year-old Ramon Angel Reyes Chavez in 2018. Police believe the pair dumped Ramon's body in the Kern River Canyon, then returned to bury it sometime later. Chavez took a plea deal and testified against Kessinger, saying she returned home one night to find her son had been severely beaten while in Kessinger's care and later died. During closing arguments yesterday, Kessinger's attorney, David Torres, pointed out Ailed Chavez showed no remorse or emotion during her interviews with police. But prosecutor Courtney Lewis argued Chavez was in shock after making a series of bad decisions.
You just saw her demeanor in this interview. It wasn't one of confusion. It wasn't one where she was overwhelmed with emotion. It appeared as though she was cool, calm, and collected.
The one good decision that Ms. Chavez made, and the one that counted the most for her son Raymond, was that she finally told the police who killed her son. And she did so having to suffer through the guilt and shame of failing him.
We can deduce.
Jurors deliberated for about an hour yesterday. They'll return this morning at 9. 17's Jason Katowski was in the courtroom for much of the trial, and you can find more of his reports on our website, kget.com.
As the state continues to unveil its new plan to combat COVID-19, several Kern County businesses were offered the chance to reopen yesterday, while others continue to wait. 17's Taylor Schaub joins us with a breakdown of how these businesses will be affected by these new statewide guidelines. Taylor?
Well, good morning, Alex. After more than a month sitting on the state's watch list, several Kern County businesses opened their doors again Monday under Governor Gavin Newsom's blueprint for a safer economy. The blueprint puts every county in the state under a 4 color-coded risk levels, ranging from purple to yellow. The highest number of cases and highest rates of positive tests have more restrictions. Kern, alongside 87% of people in California, sit in the most severe category, code purple. The county needs to cut its number of new cases in half to reach a lower risk level. That means just having over 63 cases a day. Currently, less than 1% of California counties qualify for the lowest level, so it's likely going to take months for Kern County to reach that.
The new state system, though, now puts us in charge of our own destiny, because if we can move those numbers down further, that impacts our ability to open up businesses.
Well, this tier means that many notable businesses still remain closed. Salons were given the green light to reopen across the state, including here in Kern, but not without a new strict set of guidelines, including only hair services, not nails, and only at 25% capacity.
I know that in the coming days, there will be a storm coming, and I'm so much more than prepared. I am ready.
Along with salons and barbershops, indoor malls and Retail stores have also been allowed to open up at 25% capacity, while gym, bars, and indoor dining are still closed. Well, we're in code purple, the widest spread tier. And if you want to find out if a specific industry in our county is open, you can visit covid19.ca.gov. In Southwest Bakersfield, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
And now for the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. Kern Public Health announced 94 new cases yesterday. That means more than 29,000 people have tested positive in Kern County since the pandemic began. At last check, nearly 14,000 people have an active case and are isolated at home. 202 people are currently being treated in the hospital. No new deaths were reported yesterday. 286 people in Kern County have died since the pandemic started in March.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.